So I know you guys are jonesing for some more bus content. Well, here you go. We're gonna do it today.
It's about to go down.
We're gonna take the body off of this thing, see if we can't get it over onto the other chassis. And hopefully that works as good as I think it's going to. So we've already got the frame and the body detached from each other here on this thing. And you guys seen in the last video, we cut the firewall out and got a notch up here in the front for the motor to sit in there. It's way bigger now, at least far back in there now, than it needs to be, because there was a big plate in there that was also covering up the transmission. So got that stuff all out of the way, cut off the steering column there, got that out of the way, and all the body is loose. There was some, they did a weird thing to mount this thing onto the chassis. They used some old leaf springs, and like where the center pin would go, they would just put a bolt through there, and then that would just kind of give it like a U-shaped clamp thing to go up there and hold the chassis up against the bottom of the floor. Probably, I guess, giving it a little bit of room to flex and move around too, I guess. I don't know for sure, but you wouldn't think this old chassis would flex all that much, but maybe it does. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I got forklift over here. You guys haven't seen forklift yet. I actually bought 2 of these from a friend of mine that was retiring. He's had a warehouse here in town for many, many years and finally retiring, and this was a couple of old units that he had that they're still a decent unit, but they needed a little bit of this and that, you know, to make them work. And so been messing around with those a little bit, got those going pretty good. This one I had over at 4th Street at the other shop, so I went ahead and drove it over here, and that was kind of fun, driving it down the road. Woo! Down the street in my forklift, jacking the bitches, slapping the hose. Anyways, my plan, I think with 2 forklifts, I got this one and another one, I think I will be able to actually lift this thing up pretty easy at this point. I got these big heavy sawhorses right here. I got one on that side, and I've got another one over here on this side, and a big piece of square tubing. So I think I'm gonna start off with just lifting up the back of this thing and trying to slide this square tubing up underneath here and see if we can get that up. And if we can get that up, then I think we can just take the forklift and lift the front up and drag this chassis out. So I'm gonna get to it. We'll see how it goes.
I think it looks like it clears.
Well, I'm super pleased with the way that went. That was flawless, actually. I mean, I don't know how we could have done it any better. The only way that I can think of is if we had maybe a big giant loader and strapped it or whatever, or a crane or something and picked it up. But I think this worked pretty good. I don't think we did any damage to it other than maybe just a little bit back here in this one corner. I'll show you guys that real fast. But I mean, with the damage that's already on this bus, it's next to nothing. You wouldn't even notice it. But you know, we got these panels here along the side that are all jacked up. I think I put this little dent, if you guys can see it right here, I put that little dent in it right there with the forklift, and that was only because as it was going up, the body was at an angle, so it put all of the weight right there on the edge of the fork. But other than that, yeah, we don't have any damage here to worry about at all. The piece that I put underneath there is directly under a big support that's in the body right there, and then in the front corners where the forks are at, there's a support right there in that corner too. So, and we were lifting on another support. Everywhere where there's some rivets in there, there's actually a support or a rib or whatever you want to call it in the body of the bus. So we got this thing up. We need to now go ahead and see if we can't get the chassis out from underneath here. Kind of wondering if I can't just take a forklift and just do it real quick. I was gonna go get my truck and drag it out of here, but I still have to get the other one out of the building too. I'm not sure. I mean, it really was lifting the whole thing up with just one forklift in the front. Kind of balancing with that extra and the weight in the back kind of made the front end lighter. So I'm gonna go get my truck real quick. Julie, come around here and get me, and we'll see if we can drag this thing out, and we'll go from there. Well, we'll see how this goes. Julia's on the phone, so when she gets off the phone, I'll have her pull the truck up, and I'll see if I can't steer this thing out from underneath here. I can just turn it on now. Oh. Okay, so I'm impatient. She's still on the phone. I'll just do it myself. Okay, so again, almost too easy. Let's see if we have that good of luck when we go to put the other one back underneath there. So real quick, you guys probably seen this sitting back here in the background. This is actually my aunt's truck, and it was something that she's had for a while, but last year or so it's been sitting. It's kind of got some fuel issues. We're gonna get those figured out and dialed in, but this thing is gonna be for sale if anybody's interested in a really cool old truck. It's 79 Ford. It is a 3/4 ton, or 1 ton actually, camper special. So it's got this extra wheelbase here, and the bed conforms to it. It's got the spot on the other side there for the spare tire and everything. It runs really good when it's running. So like I said, we get the little bit of fuel situation figured out, which is probably just a pump or maybe a dirty line or something, who knows what. But we'll get that dialed in, and this thing will be for sale. So if anybody's interested, DM me or something, somehow get a hold of me. All right, so since I talked to you guys last on the video, I decided that it was actually premature to be trying to put the chassis underneath the bus. So I blocked it up on a couple of little tubs and some more square tubing. And now we're ready to go ahead and try to get it underneath there today. I don't have much time here before I'm out of my shade. Unfortunately, all that's gone now, and I'm gonna be out here sweating my rear off. So I'll give you guys a quick walk around here and just catch up real fast on what we did on the chassis, and I'm gonna go back to work real quick and try to get this thing underneath there before I completely melt. So we talked about one of the things we needed to do was a fuel pump on this thing, and I definitely wanted to do that before we went ahead and got the body on there, because it's way easier to grab that now than it would be with the body all up on there. The pigtail on the end there, we went ahead and got a new one of those because those wires were messed up too. So we're going to go ahead and wire all that up later. I think that shouldn't be too big of a deal. I can, you know, kind of get it other places where we can, you know, get to the wiring fairly easy on that. So we'll do that later. We did go ahead and get some channel iron up here on top of the frame rails, and it's bolted down with some U-bolts, and that was there to kind of flatten the chassis back out. Go over there to our old chassis, you can see that it was completely just flat all the way across. And then this chassis has the humps in it there in the middle for those cross members, and we talked about that last go around. And the biggest reason why it's, you know, not really that feasible to take and move the cross members, because you can see the cross members holding up not only the gas tank but also the drive shaft. So it's going to keep the drive shaft angles all right and correct and everything. It's also got some of the exhaust hangers on it back here. So we would have to redo the exhaust hangers, we'd have to do drive shaft, and we'd have to do gas tank. Then the gas tank is sticking up above too, so then it would be hanging down below the frame even more than it is now, so making it some low-hanging fruit in case we got into something. It just really wasn't worth it. And then even after all of that, there's still a hump in the frame back here over the rear end, so it just makes a lot more sense to add a little bit of square tubing or channel iron up here that we can work with and go from there. So I've got two pieces of that back there with 4 U-bolts back there. We've got a piece over here on this side of that frame rail, and then we've got a longer piece on this side. Now it doesn't go as far on that side, and the reason for that is because of that step. You can see in here we've got that box where that step is at, and that box is probably going to have to get cut up some to be able to even clear the frame that we've got here now. So I'm gonna have to drag torch out and do that, but there was just no reason to have any more of this channel iron out here to be able to tie to, because it just wasn't going to be needed. Also, while we were messing with everything, did go ahead and get the intake back on there, because that's actually going to be probably kind of underneath the dash now a little bit. And then filled this thing back up full of oil, kind of, you know, primed a little bit of the oil over the valve covers. Not really priming it, just kind of soaking some stuff. And went ahead and filled it back up with transmission fluid. Went and ripped off the charcoal canister stuff down here and the ABS stuff, because I didn't want to have to deal with any of that. So we're pretty well good to go now, I think, to get this thing underneath there. I am definitely going to have to start chopping and hacking a little bit of things here and there. I'm pretty sure that we're not going to need like that body mount right there. Don't know about that one or this one. I'm going to leave those there for now, just in the off chance that we might be able to use them somehow to mount the front mounts on this thing. There's a mount like right here, and then there's another one up there. We cut those off the torch, but anyways, yeah, that's where we're at. And like I said, I'm about out of shade. My big shade tree here is almost gone, so I'm gonna get to work. Well, I'm close. I think the rear of the chassis is maybe just a little bit kicked to the passenger side. I backed it up and tried to get it over there several times, but for some reason it just kind of kept wanting to go the same direction. Anyways, I think it'll not be that big of a deal just to grab the back of the frame rail and just pull it over a little bit, get that kind of dialed in right, and kind of get this sit down in the front first a little bit, or maybe even just when I let the body down, just kind of push the body over and go down with it and line up the back just right then. I need to do a bunch more measurements of a bunch of stuff here, and I also need to drag the torch out here because I'm definitely gonna have to cut into that box where the step is at. So shouldn't get into the step, I hope. The box comes down and then the step's built inside the box, so there's a big hollow spot there that's just kind of hanging there. I'm gonna cut that away and we'll see where we're at. I think we can try to start to go down at that point if I can get that out of the way. Motor's not far up in there, not nearly as bad as I was thinking it might end up being. So overall, I think we're pretty good. Oh, what a great day to wear shorts. What was I thinking? Dumbass. Dumbass, dumbass, dumbass. All right. So I did bring you guys down here underneath here with me and kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about here with this box. I went ahead and put the square tubing back in here so that it only halfway crushes me, don't all the way crush me when the forklift comes down. Let's see what happens here. Oh. Oh, fucking knees locked up. Oh. This sucks. Go. Okay, so for the record, what do we got here? We got in the front of this thing, it's going to come down about 20.5 inches. So if I got more than 20.5 inches over here that I just cut out, I should be good. $19. Fuck me. So I've hacked about as much out of this thing as I want to hack with a torch, and we're going to be clearing good now on our wheel wells and everything. The back should go all the way down. The front still has that step inside that box there that I didn't want to cut into that box yet or into that step yet until I actually had like something to make a nice cut with rather than just a torch. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move these boxes out of the way and that square tubing that I had the front of this thing up with. Go ahead and get a forklift underneath both sides there, let the front down, and then I'm going to go ahead and let the back down and see if I can't get this thing inside the building. If I get inside the building, I'll have some power, get to, you know, better tools and things like that, and we'll see if we can't get that step cut out the rest of the way and figure out what it is I'm gonna have to do to make that all work. But it'll be a lot easier to do that inside out of the heat and with something other than a torch. Well, I was so worried about everything underneath there hitting that I didn't even think about the motor anymore and just was under the impression that it was going to be fine for some reason. And it's not. We got this little tab over there that's got to come off, and I think we'll be okay after that. But I'm going to have to cut a good chunk out of this piece over here still to be able to let that clear because, yeah, it's nowhere near close, as you guys can see. So I hope my battery's charged up in my battery powered grinder. So the battery was of course dead, but that gave me an opportunity to come in here and shop and get a big giant spot here all cleaned out so we can get this thing in here and work around it. Should be able to put it right down the middle and have, you know, maybe enough room to get a forklift around each side of it. So that'll work. I'll go back out here now and see if we can cut the rest of this off. Well, I just looked before I set you guys up on the tripod there, and it's a nice cool 95 degrees out here now. But don't worry, it only feels like 97, so we're doing good. Go ahead and get this thing cut off. My phone will probably overheat and shut off before I get this cut, so if you guys go away, you'll know why. Well, as I figured you guys overheated, I got you moved over here in the shade, but now you're like a million miles away. That's the best I can do for now. I did go ahead and get the front down. That looks pretty good. We got it in here, but it's so freaking dark in here that we need some more light. So Julie's gets to be the first one to walk on top of the bus.
Technically, we have a lift, and if we was thinking about it ahead of time, we would have used the lift. But I need to get up here and look at the roof.
Hold on. Good?
Yeah, I think so. This has got hail damage galore up here.
What? Our 1957 school bus got held on before? In Kansas?
Who knew? Are you sure this switch is on?
No. I'm sure it's on. I don't know.
I see a switch off over there, but I don't know. It should be on that one though.
It's not on that switch.
No, I can see.
I'll go turn it on, but it's not on that switch.
No, I can see that it's not. Yes, it is.
Yeah. For the record, no, I'm not scared of heights. I'm scared of me being on a forklift with Julie driving. Well, we got this thing inside. We got some lights going on up here. Now it's too bright to video really, but that's all right. And then we need to go ahead and get this thing squared back up on the chassis. It not only didn't go down straight when I let it down, it kind of went all crooked. It also went from side to side wrong too. So you can see down there at the bottom where Julie's at, there's a gap there. That
Big gap, and on
little
that side
spot.
it's touching.
The other side is touching, so we're about an inch and a half or so off on the very front, and probably about the same amount off on the back, except for the other direction. So we need to square that up, and then the body needs, the whole thing needs to just go back just a little bit, about 3 inches or so. That would make a huge difference as well, where everything will line up better on the wheel wells. But we still have the situation here with the step hitting, and you can kind of see right now the thing's sitting there. It's cocked like this. That's because it's sitting on that step.
I'll get underneath there and show you what we're talking about. There's our steps. There's the frame.
And there's how much it's hitting by.
And, yeah,
Just barely any.
barely. Get rid of that triangle, it'll help. But here's the thing, the whole body needs to go back about 2 inches. So still going to be hitting the frame. The frame kind of starts to flare out there. Maybe even 4 inches. So
We're good in the front. I think the front will come down and hit and be okay.
so it's just this corner.
But it'll be the whole step by the time it's all said and done.
Well, yeah. So we're going to have to get creative with the step going in.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and just, I'll cut this off right across through here and give us some clearance for the frame. Try to stay away from our body tag here, and apparently that must be like a...
Yeah, we don't need to go that
Number.
far because we're only a few inches, so it'll just be over here, I imagine.
And we'll see how bad that messes up our step when we're all said and done. And then, Julie, if you will jack the back of this thing up
Yeah.
to the point where we can get these stands underneath here. If we can get these under the body here, then my thought is then in the front, I'll lift it up with a forklift, and then we'll put these stands here underneath this corner, let the forklift back down, and that'll actually have the body lifted up off the chassis, and then we can try to move the chassis around underneath the bus. So if you want to do that while I'm cutting. Okay. Wow, did you guys see that? It broke this freaking chain. I cannot believe that. This is the chain that I picked it up with and brought it all the way into the building, and we're just now trying to pick the front end of it up enough to get it to where we can put those jack stands underneath the body there, and it broke it. That's wild. I'm gonna have to find a new chain now. Yeah.
What happened?
Chain broke.
Oh no. On fire. I'm hot and I hurt.
We need a dipstick for the transmission and for the oil.
I'll add it to my ever-growing list of things we need.
Well, everybody, we've got her down and actually, I think, centered where we want it on the wheel wells finally, and from side to side and all of that.
We thought we were videoing that for you, but it turns out it wasn't. It happens.
We videoed part of it, but then we ended up having to actually raise it back up and do it all over again, and
Shuffle it and juggle it, and we put it down and jumped and moved and had to block it, and it was a pain.
Long story short, this has wasted our whole weekend
Pretty much.
to get to this point, but that's all right. That's part of it.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
So,
No exaggeration. I have found that I can roll around on a creeper much better with this hair than I could with my long hair. It doesn't get tangled.
so there's that.
I spent way more time on a creeper than I wanted to this weekend.
It seemed like most of our U-bolts that were holding our channel iron down to the frame that we're going to weld to we're all in the wrong spot, and everything was just kind of a pain. But
they were close.
we worked through it all, and
Not all of them. I think I left 2.
okay. Well, whatever.
Yeah, anyway, yes, they're down. It's ready to be welded. Connor can do that tomorrow because my back hurts and I don't want to be under there anymore.
Yeah, we'll see if we can't come Connor into welding tomorrow. And I guess that's probably makes a pretty good video for you now by the time I put this all together. So
yeah, I had a lot more to talk to you guys about, but I'm tired and this has been it's long enough. It's hot.
It's hot.
There's always next week. I'll have much more to talk to you about next week.
So
it's looking good though. I like it. It's there.
I like the stance. The stance is pretty good.
These wheels and tires are ugly, but we're fixing that.
It's not too low to where it's going to be a problem to drive it, but it's not so high that it looks like a school bus. Right,
and the step we're going to be able to work around. That's going to be fine. It did come down into it, but
we'll flash you guys over to that.
Yeah,
so
I need a place to put my legs. There's still room to get in. We'll show you that. It's going to be fine.
I think it's going to work out pretty good actually with the step. I think it'll be fine.
I think so.
Build a little box in here around the motor and start mounting some brakes and brake pedals and a steering column and yada 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 yada.
Yada yada, one thing after another, some wiring, blah 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 blah. You know the drill.
Anyways, we're just rambling at this point, so
because we're hot and tired.
Appreciate you guys watching, following along, and
thanks guys.
Yep. See you next Wednesday.
Bye bye.